Okay, so Jai Bhim to all of you. Very warm welcome to the first session of the Introduction to the Discipline series. And in this series, we will discuss about different disciplines across humanities and laws. We'll also discuss about what is the subject matter of particular discipline, how this subject matter is being studied in the discipline, what are the different thinkers, what are the career options in that particular discipline, and also we'll discuss a lot of theories that maybe first time you'll be listening, first time you'll be knowing about these theories. So in this first series, first lecture, we have Dr. Bansidhar Deep with us. He has completed his masters, M.Phil, then JNU, Ph.D from JNU, and he is currently teaching in Rajendra University, Prajna Vihar in Odisha. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So going straight to the our discussion about philosophy, मैंने जैसा शुरुआत में कहा था कि फिलोसॉफी के बारे में बहुत टाइम लोग ये बोलते हैं कि फिलोसॉफी माने कि एक काली रूम है, ब्लैक रूम, देयर इज अ ब्लैक रूम एंड यू आर फाइंडिंग अ ब्लैक कैट which is not there. So generally people
Yeah.
talk like philosophy in this way. How do you see that? Like what exactly philosophy, like by philosophy, what do you understand by it? Like,
Yeah. See, once again, I'm very much thankful to the organizer for inviting me for this crucial lecture. Uh, it is very important, and sometimes in India, uh, philosophy is discussed, but the way philosophy is understood as a powerful discipline, as other disciplines are available in social sciences and humanities, particularly. It is not that much, uh, what famous, or it is not given so much value sometimes, or we have not realized the power of philosophy for the society, politics, and for our life, and also to understand the overall world. So the general definition, very famous definition, or generally it is wherever you go to the Department of Philosophy, whether it is Western or Indian or any other side of the globe, usually they say that philosophy is love of wisdom. Philosophy is love of wisdom. It is all about it is all about knowledge. It is all about wisdom. So, but not only that, I would say that philosophy is definitely about love of wisdom, but also it is love of arguments. So we philosophy argue. So philosophy develop how to argue, not only what is argument, but how to argue. What is the best form of expression where our thought can be expressed, where our thought can be expressed, our thinking can be expressed. And therefore, philosophy can be said as, in general, love of wisdom, but it is also a love of arguments, or love for arguments. So this is a very very narrow way of understanding it. It will not make sense to a newcomer students who are pursuing very newly what it is in this sense. But there are various ways to understand what philosophy is. Various philosophers has entered into philosophical analysis or into doing philosophy in academics as well as in their own life outside of the academics. They have entered from different perspectives. So therefore philosophy can be defined, or sometimes it is very difficult to define what philosophy is. The moment you define what philosophy is, then actually you are not doing philosophy. So the simple way to teach, the way I teach my student, the UG student, also undergraduate student, and also PG student, and sometimes the research scholars also, because it is very difficult to understand what philosophy is. Philosophy is a discipline. Philosophy is a core subject like the other subjects are available to study in the social science domain, social science and humanities domain, like sociology, political science, economics, history, in that way, philosophy is a core discipline in which we study about about some particular issues or particular concept, particular methodology, which was supposed to study in philosophy.
Okay.
For example, philosophy, in philosophy, we study, there are several branches of philosophy, several areas of philosophy in which we study various things. For example, like 4 or 5 branches are very, very important. One, that is called epistemology. Epistemology, which means theory of knowledge, which means theory of knowledge. So within this area, we study what is knowledge, how do we get knowledge, what is the limit of knowledge, what are the sources of knowledge, what are the methods of knowledge. So all these questions or anything and everything related to knowledge, therefore in short it is called in epistemology, but theory of knowledge. So anything and everything related to knowledge is studied here within this domain or within this branch, among
Just a
others.
follow up question. Just a follow up question. Like
Yes,
as you said, ki it's all about knowledge. Like you
yes,
understand like what is the limit of knowledge, how knowledge is originated, how knowledge is produced. So like
yes,
that does it mean that philosophy encompasses everything, every form of knowledge? For example, science ka knowledge, sociological knowledge. There is knowledge about universe. There is knowledge about sexuality. Like every form of knowledge that comes under philosophy.
no, it's very important questions. Very important questions. So sometimes it is also said philosophy is the mother of all sciences or mother of all social sciences, we can say. Okay? Philosophy is there in the science. Philosophy is there in other discipline. Philosophy is not only limited to philosophy department, but
Hmm.
philosophy is everywhere. Nowadays it is interdisciplinary. Nowadays
Hmm.
it is interdisciplinary, but there are great philosophers who are supposed to be mathematicians. There are great philosophers. They were supposed to be, scientists. There are
Hmm.
great philosophers. They are supposed to be politicians. So therefore, in every discipline, there is a particular way of or particular area which is called something philosophy. So, for
Hmm.
example, everything like all the sentences are not the proposition, all the sentences are not propositions, but some sentences are meaningful and they are not called proposition. They are called
Can you
proposition.
make it little
Okay?
bit of simple for the
Yeah,
students?
simple. For example,
Yeah.
while making an argument, we follow the certain specific organized statement, and then we come to
Okay.
the conclusion. So these
Okay.
particular statements are very, very different from the general way of making the statement. And those are like sentence only, but they are
Hmm.
proposition. They are called in philosophy proposition. So
Hmm.
this proposition, from this proposition, we from a different type of proposition, we infer the conclusion. We come to a conclusion. So in order to make your thought convey someone or what you want to convey, what you have to do is you have to go systematically. So systematically you have to present your thought. So therefore, everywhere philosophy is there, but everything is not the philosophy. Understood?
Hmm.
Everywhere
Hmm.
philosophy is there, but like in sociology, there is an area or there is certain specific, area where philosophy is done. Therefore, many philosophers belongs to the domain of sociology or society, but they are actually philosophers. So there is a limit, or therefore every discipline has their own scope and nature, their scope and perspective. You cannot study everything. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore, for example, scientists are also doing philosophy, but scientists are not philosopher. And that we have to, I will, somewhere else how they are different, I will pointed
Hmm.
out to you that how, where, because this question is a very pertinent question. Sometimes even in the discourse of
Hmm.
philosophy or in
Hmm.
general discourse, it comes, if
Hmm.
you are doing this, then what is the difference from, scientists? doing.
Hmm.
They are also producing knowledge, and you are also talking about knowledge. But what is the difference? So
Hmm.
another important way to define now philosophy, come to our understanding what is philosophy, that philosophy is a critic. I was just
Hmm.
recently going through one article. It's a very
Hmm.
in a very famous journal, international journal published. I found
Hmm.
it from GS Store, and it is very difficult. I teach various courses, but to convey the newcomers what
Hmm.
philosophy is, how what is the relevance of philosophy, it is very difficult. So in that, I found two ways to understand philosophy. In that article, it has been defined. The first
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
critic. Philosophy is a critic. So philosophy never take anything for granted.
Okay.
Philosophy always critically understand. Always
Hmm.
critically understand. For example, I
Hmm.
teach social and political philosophy to
Hmm.
the UG and PG student, post
Hmm.
graduation student. So there, what
Okay.
is the task of philosophy, political philosophy, social and political philosophy? The task
Hmm.
of social and political philosophy is to critically understand the society and politics in general. But
Okay.
specifically, when you say philosophically studying about society and politics means this is also studied in sociology and political science and other
Yeah,
area
yeah, yeah.
also.
That's
But
what I
what
was about
philosophy
to ask.
study? Philosophy study critically about the social institutions, political concept, political theories, which are already available in the field of knowledge. Now,
Hmm.
not just to understand the normativity which is practiced out there in the society, critically look, observe, and also whatever the philosophers already has been defined to understand the
Hmm.
society and politics. That
Hmm.
also the available knowledge in terms of concept and theories. So there are
Hmm.
various philosophers, they have defined society and politics, which we study. But we have to study it critically. We never convince it, or we don't accept as it is. If
Hmm.
there is any problem we found, we also suggest some alternative viewpoint.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
therefore, philosophy always look possible interpretation of the existing knowledge, and they
Hmm.
create or
Hmm.
they add on some meaning into the existing concept, into the existing theories, into the existing methods. So what are the best way to study society and politics? They will always search for that. So not only they critically engage with the existing knowledge system, but also they seek beyond. They seek for social transformation, how to be
Hmm.
improved in the existing knowledge system. So in that way, philosophy is a philosophy always, you know, provides critical insights, critical attitude, and therefore we can say philosophy is a critical subject, or philosophy use critical methods, or
Hmm.
philosophy is a critic. Philosophy is a critic, and therefore skepticism,
Hmm.
संदेहवाद, हिंदी
Hmm.
में अगर बोलेंगे तो इसको संदेह, हम संदेह करना, डाउट
Hmm.
करना, वो
Hmm.
बिगिनिंग ऑफ द फिलोसफी, क्वेश्चनिंग,
Hmm.
क्वेश्चनिंग,
Okay. Hmm.
डाउटिंग, उसको
Hmm.
हम फिलोसॉफिकल टर्मिनोलॉजी में स्केप्टिक कहते हैं. बीइंग
Hmm. Hmm.
स्केप्टिक is the starting point of philosophy. If you accept everything as a perfect knowledge, then there is no philosophy. So you have to think critically about it. So therefore philosophy is a critic. But the question arises that others also critic, science also look critically. Are not other discipline
Yeah,
look
yeah.
things critically? That is there,
Hmm.
but there is nothing that may not be challenged by philosophy. Everything,
Hmm.
though there is a limit of criticism in other discipline, they cannot go beyond.
Hmm.
But if you go beyond
Hmm.
certain extent of analysis, then you are not doing physics, chemistry, or sociology or political science there, but you are doing philosophy. So therefore, philosophers belongs to different domains, irrespective of the armchair philosophers belong to only philosophy department. They can
Hmm.
belongs to, or they can be anybody
Hmm.
from any discipline. Okay, so therefore, philosophy is precisely that intellectual inquiry in which anything is open to critical challenge and scrutiny.
Hmm.
So there are certain features of philosophy.
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
example, philosophy is subversive. Philosophy always is subversive. Subversive means हम तोड़ मोड़ के हम अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव से हम देखते हैं. अगर कोई सिस्टम है तो उसका डिफरेंट पार्ट्स को हमने एनालाइज करके देखेंगे.
मतलब बहुत
So
माइन्यूट
therefore,
एनालिसिस, बहुत नुआंस्ड एनालिसिस.
yes, naive understanding, naive and nuances we will find out. So therefore, philosophy is subversive. They challenge religion. They challenge anything, religious practices or any kind of practices. They don't take for granted. For example, in religion, we don't question. Sometimes we, accept whatever is coming to us in our society, whatever is transmitted, that we accept as it is. We never question. But philosophy is not like that. Philosophy can challenge anything. Therefore, philosophy is subversive. It is very, very subversive. And philosophy is unsettling. Always they are not settled. They are always unsettled. They don't accept anything as final sometimes.
कभी भी खुशी
So
नहीं है.
therefore,
They are not happy at all.
yes, they will never, be happy, or they will not accept, oh, this is final and should be happy. They will not like that. But it will raise a very critical question again, that if it is always skeptical always subversive, then what is, the particular, the constructive side of doing philosophy? It is the always critical part of doing philosophy or understanding philosophy. What is the constructive side? But there are, philosophers. Philosophy is not also always, passive, critical. It is critical, but also that is used for constructive side. Philosophy is creative. Philosophy is creative, original. They always try to, contribute something original, creative, innovative, and therefore there is a constructive side to philosophy as well. So they always construct new ideas, system of thoughts, and different views or worldviews, different worldviews. They provide different ideas regarding the world and life, and therefore various philosophers, they have provided different insight, constructive side of philosophy. For example, Ludwig Wittgenstein, and then Derrida. So Derrida is a postmodernist philosopher. Jacques Derrida, and then Ludwig Wittgenstein. He is a philosopher of language. So he provided a constructive, picture about the world from the perspective of language. So what is the relation between language and world? So if there is no language, how do we understand world? This is something exists outside. It is all about the language game. It is all about the language game. And therefore he says, and therefore it is a question, philosophical question. What is the relationship between language and the world? How meaning is created? How meaning is created? So language is very, very important tool to understand or create meaning. Meaning.
True.
When I say this is pen, what makes it to know that it is a pen?
That this is pen. Yeah.
This is pen. And therefore it is because I have named it as a pen, and therefore I am knowing it is a pen. So this is a very philosophical question. Therefore, to knowing the relationship between language and world is very, very important. Now, there are various philosophers, they have contributed in different fields, this constructive aspect. So philosophy has to be understood or accepted as a constructive, innovative discipline. Innovative, creative, original discipline. It creates such kind of ideas. For example, Locke. Locke criticizes the autocratic government of that time. John Locke, he is a liberal thinker, and he developed the theory of the liberal state. So it was creative by then, earlier, whatever was available. It was conservative, very much conservative.
He built new things over whatever available.
New things. Yeah. And therefore, it is always original.
या ओके सो
Yeah.
अभी मेरा एक सवाल है फॉर क्योंकि एक नया स्टूडेंट है बिकॉज अगेन यू नो डॉक्टर बंसिंदर दीप इज फिलोसोफर I have also,
No, no, no,
some
no,
sort
no.
of I have academic, touch, so I can still understand
Yes.
what you're saying. But let us assume कि एक नया स्टूडेंट है, नई लड़की है, लड़का है, they are understanding, उनको लगता है कि यार मेरे को फिलोसफी में जाना है. तो like what is the procedure? Like मतलब ऐसा कोई प्रोसीजर है? Like is it necessary to take a degree to be philosopher or not? Like
No. There are two types of philosophy.
hmm,
Okay. One is academic philosopher or professional philosopher.
hmm,
Or and therefore, what is this kind of philosopher? Like
hmm,
us. We have studied philosophy. I have done master in philosophy, M.Phil in philosophy, Ph.D. in philosophy, professor, assistant professor in philosophy, and I am professionally studying what philosophy is and what are other things studied in philosophy.
hmm,
But there are also people who has created innovative ideas
hmm,
without studying philosophy. For example, in Odisha, Saint Bhima Bhoi. Bhima
hmm,
Bhoi he was not a, you know,
hmm,
uh, like student of philosophy, but
hmm,
he is considered as a philosopher.
hmm,
He is engaged
hmm,
himself and critically understood nature, society, politics, gender,
hmm,
and he provided some or he developed some original thinking.
hmm,
And there are a lot of peoples, even they don't belong to the particular discipline like the philosophy, but they have studied outside department also. They have also created, philosophy. For example, Baba Sahib Ambedkar. For
hmm,
example, Buddha
hmm,
might not have studied the way we have studied.
hmm,
Or he might have studied, forgot about Buddha or
hmm,
Siddhartha Gautama because he belongs to the uh, uh, aristocrat family or king,
hmm, hmm, hmm,
family.
hmm,
But education must be available. But there are
hmm,
other thinkers, eh?
hmm,
Thinkers. They are, they have not studied, but they have created original philosophy.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
So therefore, Gramsci
Hmm.
say organic intellectual. Such kind of
Gramsci,
intellectual are known as organic intellectual.
organic
So,
intellectuals. हाँ.
so therefore, the way philosophy is considered
Hmm,
is a very abstract,
hmm,
very difficult, and it
hmm,
is quite difficult. But
hmm,
and why it is difficult? Because they focuses on theory,
hmm,
concept,
hmm,
and methodology. This kind of abstract
hmm.
kind of engagement they always keep,
True. Hmm,
irrespective of the areas they study. In
hmm,
political sciences, there is something called political theory. In
hmm, hmm,
sociology, something called theory. In economics, something called certain methodological or certain economic theory. So all these
hmm,
things will come. And what is the aim of
hmm,
sociology? Or
hmm,
how sociology is a scientific subject?
hmm, hmm.
This is a philosophical question, but also
Okay.
studied in
Hmm.
sociology. So all these things in sociology, we study marriage, kinship, everything. That is not philosophy. That is not
Okay.
philosophy. But when we say how this institution is created,
Hmm.
what is when you study value,
Hmm.
then it is
It is
philosophy, doing
philosophy.
philosophy. So
Hmm.
therefore, that is the difference between science and philosophy. Science study about fact, but
Hmm.
philosophy study not only study about fact, along with science, scientific analysis, they also focus on values,
Hmm.
normative aspect, norms.
Normative
Norms are
norms.
values, psychological, mental,
Hmm. Hmm.
feelings, emotion, reason, rationality. All these things are also very, very important subject like God,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
religion.
So
These are also very
that's
cosmos,
dangerous subject to be
beauty,
discussed.
beauty, aesthetics. These are,
Oh.
and therefore
Hmm.
I forgot to mention what are the
Hmm.
basic, domains or branches of philosophy. Like logic is one part, logic.
Hmm. Hmm.
Huh? Then aesthetic is another part, ethics
Hmm.
is another part, ethics or
Hmm.
morality. Then
Hmm.
metaphysics.
Hmm.
Metaphysics is another part.
Metaphysics. Hmm.
Then epistemology, as I already pointed
Hmm.
out. Then
Hmm.
ontology and politics.
Hmm.
These are
Hmm.
also um, have been the core
Part of philosophy.
branches of studying philosophy, or within philosophy we study all these are the main branches. Like in political science there are called something, international relation is a branch of area of
Political science.
political science.
Political.
Political theory is an another area of political science. So in that way, in philosophy, logic is one aspect,
One
then
aspect.
aesthetics, then ethics, metaphysics, epistemology, ontology, politics. So mainly, for example, just slightly I am pointing out what it is studied specifically. In logic, logic, it is the study of ideal method in thought and research. So what is the best method to study things, okay, or argue? So therefore, in social sciences, irrespective of the discipline or science, for that matter, inductive and deductive method is taught. So inductive and deductive methods are part of logic. Part of logic. It is differently called inductive reasoning, deductive logic, inductive logic. So therefore, logic is a very, very important aspect of methodology in general in social sciences. And philosophy, therefore, very, very important, irrespective of the discipline. Okay. Because whenever we are talking about methodology or method of any discipline, their aim, purpose of that discipline, we are actually doing philosophy. Okay. Then aesthetic is something, there we study about beauty, arts. So the issues related, it is very, very difficult to understand the way simply in common in common everyday practices, understanding things, beauties, then beauties, art. These are very, very complex topics which has to be critically understood, and therefore that is one of the aspects studied in philosophy. But very importantly, logic, ethics, metaphysics, epistemology. This four is very, very core. So in metaphysics, that means everything is not studied materially. We cannot see everything in the world.
Okay.
We have our own limit. And therefore it is called metaphysics. Physics means the things which are visible to us, physics
Visible
out
to us.
there, visible material things. But metaphysics means the things are there, but we cannot see it. So
But
it is
still
not
they are
only
there.
material things. We cannot see it. For example, universe, we understand it, but we don't understand. Okay. So metaphysics, therefore. So therefore, metaphysics study what is the ground reality of something, or what is the, for example, what is the ground reality of our life? What is the ground reality of the world? So therefore, another definition of philosophy can be understood. Philosophy study the ground reality about the life and world. So, for example, certain questions is beyond science or empirical or material or empirical study, beyond empirical study. For example, whether our mind exists or not. It is a very difficult question, but also relevant question. Whether God exists or not, whether soul exists or not. What is the relationship between mind and body? All these things are, such kind of question, or what is the relationship between language and world? All these are the metaphysical questions, and therefore without metaphysics, philosophy cannot be done. So metaphysics is another important area. Then epistemology, already I have told you, epistemology is theory of knowledge. About theory of knowledge, there, what is knowledge, what are the sources of knowledge, what is the limit of knowledge, what is the method of knowledge, types of knowledge, everything related to knowledge is studied there. So now, for example, what is the best source of knowledge? What is the best source from which we can gain knowledge? Or what is knowledge for that matter? Somebody will answer, knowledge is information. Knowledge is information.
That's a deep question. What is knowledge?
What is knowledge? When somebody somebody will answer, knowledge is information. But somebody, then philosopher counter question, how do you collect this information? From where you get this information? How do you collect this information? Through my senses. Senses. Through my senses, I see things and I know things. I test things and I know the test. I touch the things and I identify the quality of the
Identify
things.
things.
So therefore, these five senses is very, very important. And knowledge through this, it is called in science, sense perception. It is called sense perception. So coming or whatever we are knowing through sense perception is called knowledge. But the
Knowledge.
other philosopher,
There are
other way
certain
of
things.
knowing philosophy, no, but this is not the only way. Other will say that no. Sometimes this knowledge from sense perception is deceiving.
Hmm.
We see or we perceive things what it is, but in actual sense or in actual case, it is not the case.
Hmm.
रात में अगर हम गुजर रहे होंगे, अगर कुछ ऐसे सब चीज को कोई बेल्ट पड़ा होगा या कोई कुछ ऐसे मटेरियल पड़ा होगा और हमको स्नैक जैसे फील हुआ और तुम्हारा सेंस को इस चीज कन्विंस, यू अंडरस्टूड दैट इट इज एक्चुअली ए सेंस माने स्नैक आउट देयर एंड आई फेल्ट इट, बट इट वाज नॉट द केस. May not be the case. And therefore, reason is very important. Rationality is very important. So rationality is the right source of knowledge. So then other philosophers then identify, no, neither reason is important or complete, nor experience is complete, or sense experience is the right way of knowing things. But this, both the things are very, very important. Therefore, reconciliation of experience, sense experience, empiricism, it is called empiricist way of knowing things, and rationalist way of knowing things. So then together makes something different. It is also can't say a posterior a priori knowledge or synthetic knowledge. Synthetic knowledge. Immanuel
Can you
Kant is a
explain
very
this? What is
famous.
this? What is this synthetic and this concept?
That means synthetic. There are different propositions through which we know the knowledge. For example, snake is green. Snake is green. Snake is green is a very informative. That snake and predicate is green. It is something informative, this proposition. But ball is round. It is very, ball is round. Bachelor is unmarried. Within bachelor, marriage is there. Understood? So therefore, there are different propositions are, classified. Empirical statement, or it is called synthetic. Empirical statement or propositions, or analytical statement or analytical propositions. So this analytical aspect is also important. Experiential aspect is also very important in a simple way. And therefore, without sense experiences, knowledge is also impossible sometimes, but also sometimes we have to think beyond also sense experiences. Okay. Beyond also sense experience. Therefore, something called mind. So, the rationalist philosopher, there are two different schools exist in different philosophical tradition. In Western philosophy, empiricist school, there are one set of philosophers, they focus knowledge or they accept knowledge coming from sense experiences, and others set of philosophers, they are known as rationalist philosophers. They adopt the methodology like reason is the main tool to analyze what is knowledge or what is valid knowledge or scientific knowledge. And then some other set of philosophers are there, they mixed up this both and they talk about knowledge. Otherwise, both are halfway right, but they are not completely right. What is to accept or to know what is knowledge.
So अभी तक जो लोग इसको देख रहे हैं, अभी तक हम लोग हो सकता है जो those who are watching this for the first time, those who are listening about philosophy for the first time, for them this may be a too much confusing state कि भाई साहब ये क्या डिस्कशन चल रहा है, like what is knowledge, knowledge कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता है, और मैं क्या हूँ, मेरे अंदर क्या है, और मैंने जो टच किया है वो सत्य है या नहीं है, सच क्या है, झूठ क्या है, like it's too difficult और यही तो है, that is actually philosophy. Whatever we are doing, whatever Dr. Bansidhar Deep is telling to you, this is what a mind of philosopher. फिलोसोफर ऐसे सोचता है, वो हर चीज को सवाल करता जाता है, सवाल करता जाता है, डिपेंड 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 डिपेंड। और जैसे हमने कहा कि पॉलिटिकल साइंस हो, बाकी डिसिप्लिन, तो सर ने जैसे कहा कि देयर इज लिमिट, लेकिन यहाँ पे कोई लिमिट नहीं है। यू आर गोइंग डीप एंड डीप। क्या मैं इसको इस तरीके से, जस्ट मेरा एक प्रपोजिशन है, क्या हम इसको इस तरीके से समझ सकते हैं कि फिलोसॉफी गिव्स यू अ डायरेक्शन टुवर्ड्स कंक्लूजन, इट डजंट गिव अ कंक्लूजन, इट जस्ट गिव यू अ डायरेक्शन कि कैसे जाना है।
No, it is not also, as I have pointed out in the beginning, कि फिलोसॉफी हर बार कंफ्यूजिंग नहीं होता है। फिलोसॉफी हर बार क्लियर एंड डिस्टिंक्ट आइडियाज की खोज में भी रहता है। ओके, पूरा क्लियर एंड डिस्टिंक्ट, वो कंफ्यूजन में नहीं है। एंड therefore I pointed out that there is a critical aspect. It is always being critical, but at the same time it accepts that some constructive side as well, original, creative. So they always talk about concrete knowledge as well. Concrete knowledge as well. So now in social and political philosophy, it is the product of all the social philosophers. They have created the idea of democracy. They have defined it. Understood? They have defined it. What is the idea of democracy? What could be the best form of democracy? Liberal state. This is the philosophers phase-wise critically looked the existing system and provided the alternative practices, theory. So that becomes the practice. That becomes the practice. That becomes the new law or new norms to be practiced in everyday life. So it is not, therefore, another philosopher, Danto, philosopher Danto, there is a book, what is called, What is Philosophy? I will recommend the listener or audience to read newcomers, those who are pursuing.
Can you repeat that?
What is Philosophy? Arthur Danto, complete, the title is What Philosophy is, a guide to the elements. Arthur C. Danto. This is the book I think I have in my table. Arthur C. Danto. What philosophy is? The title is What Philosophy is. This book defines philosophy is an activity. Philosophy is an activity. Currently, philosophy is not only only talking about abstract idea, but it talks about concrete reality. They are problem solver. So philosophy is always try to solve the problem. Whatever problems are there, they try to solve it. And that is the reason philosophy is not always confusing. Philosophy is always creative, innovative. They always try to solve the problem.
Okay.
They always try to solve the problem with reasoning. With reasoning. That why we said call something this, or why we should not call something this. This is not. So therefore, philosophy always talk about concrete.
Yeah. So अभी तक तो we have established, like for me also, because I'm a student of sociology and I have been part of this debate कि sociology science है या नहीं है, political science है या नहीं है.
Yeah.
I have been part of this debate and that is very interesting. But जैसे हमने कहा कि अगर कोई ऐसा स्टूडेंट है जो अभी उसने 12th खत्म किया है, नाउ विल मूव टुवर्ड्स थोड़ा सा फॉर्मल डिसिप्लिन में कैसे किसी को एंटर कर सकता है, हाउ समबडी कैन लर्न फिलोसॉफी, लाइक व्हाट आर द रिसोर्सेज इवन, और एग्जैक्ट हमने अभी तो लार्जर डिसिप्लिन में क्या क्या पढ़ा जाता है, क्या स्कोप है, क्या नेचर है, वो पढ़ा है। लेकिन जैसे मान लो कि कोई पर्सन है जो फर्स्ट टाइम अपने बैचलर्स 12th के बाद बैचलर्स के लिए जा रहा है, सो इन जनरल उसको क्या पढ़ने को मिलता है उसमें, लाइक अगर बीए फिलोसॉफी कर रहा है तो लार्जली क्या होता है अक्रॉस इंडिया के डिपार्टमेंट्स में?
देखो, एक्चुअली फॉर एनी डिसिप्लिन एंड philosophy is not very abstract, as I pointed out. Even for the newcomers, those who are studying philosophy or different discipline. So what they are doing is, philosophy starts from common sense world. The common sense is a philosophical method. There is a G.E. Moore. Recently, I was reading, Oxford has published another book you can recommend, that is introduction to philosophical method, an introduction, philosophical method, an introduction. I am forgetting the author, but in there different how to study philosophy. The methods of philosophy has been in a very simple language. It has been discussed. So it is for the beginner. It is very, very important. Okay. So see, you don't have to do, or there is separate way to do philosophy. Whatever you are studying, if you are studying systematically, engage with the literature deeply, then automatically some fundamental question regarding that discipline or the particular topic which you are studying will arises in your mind, and from there the philosophy will start. Okay, so children ask, and they drink milk. And they might ask, what is it, papa or mom? They will answer, though, this is milk. This is milk. Simple question. But in that way, suppose if I think the concept of justice, then what is just or what is justice becomes a philosophical question. So
also, what is ethical and ethical? That also philosophical question.
What is ethical? Ethics is another branch of what I was supposed to. Ethics is the study of conduct. And not only study about conduct, but what is right and wrong, what is good and bad conduct, that also we try to know. And therefore, there is moral judgment. How do you judge moral? What is moral and immoral? By the support of the moral reasonings which are already available. There are different perspectives to understand what is to be or what is to be accepted as moral or called as immoral. For example, utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is a school of studied in philosophy, also in sociology. It is an interdisciplinary theory, political theory, or is an ethical theory as well. Utilitarianism means they judge anything and everything that is called something ethical if that produces maximum utility, maximum benefits, maximum consequences, and therefore happiness, maximum pleasure. So this is the parameter to call something called moral or immoral. So therefore there are different theories available in ethical field to understand critically what is moral action or what is immoral action, what is called ethical or what is called unethical. So there are different ethics also available. Normative ethics, meta ethics, applied ethics. Nowadays applied ethics is in the commercial world, in this commercial or capitalist world. Ethical discourse is very, very important. So business ethics, professional ethics, animal ethics, environmental ethics. So how we should behave with the nature. All these things are also studied with eco-philosophy. It is called also eco-philosophy. So ethics is also a broader area, and it is very, very relevant. It is very, very relevant. And therefore, whosoever may be a student, philosophy is relevant. Be it a newcomer studying UG or PG in philosophy, if they will critically or systematically study what the social philosopher has contributed about various social realities. For example, Emile Durkheim. Somebody is studying sociology. Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, Max Weber, Auguste Comte. So Auguste Comte is the founding father of sociology. One of the founding father of sociology. So what is his contribution to philosophy? What is his contribution to social sciences? His method of positivism. Recently I pointed out it is called empiricism. Differently called, it is empiricism. So generally earlier, science as a tool or method applied in the department or subject like physics, chemistry, biology. They are called pure science. They are called pure sciences.
Pure science.
And therefore,
Hmm.
the methods of science is applied there. Observation,
Hmm.
experiment,
Hmm.
reliability, hmm?
Hmm.
hypothesis,
Hmm. Hmm.
huh? analysis of fact,
Hmm.
value
Hmm.
neutrality, value neutrality. All these things are, parameters or, characteristics of science. So it is studied in physics, chemistry, biology, or in pure science. But
Hmm.
August Comte realized that no, or other social philosophers like Emile Durkheim as well. Hmm?
Hmm.
In his Ph.D. thesis, it is published in 1895, something sociological method or something, or
Hmm.
methodology, sociological methodology or something.
Hmm.
Not exactly, but it is like that.
Hmm.
So he has written how to study society or social fact
Hmm.
scientifically.
Hmm. Hmm.
Auguste Comte suggested that these methods can also be applied to study the social reality, social
Social
fact,
reality. Hmm.
social reality, social fact. And not only that, there are other philosophers also come in this category. And
Hmm.
therefore, they they suggest that positivism as
Hmm.
a method can be applied. Scientific method only, what the method
Scientific method.
exactly followed in natural sciences, that can be applied in studying different things of
Social
social
sciences.
reality. For example, suicide. Durkheim pointed out suicide is a social fact.
Hmm.
Hmm? And social fact can be analyzed, understood, studied scientifically. But you have to
Hmm.
maintain value neutrality and follow the tools
Hmm.
which is followed, what is followed in science.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in that way,
Hmm.
interpretation, Max Weber
Hmm.
adopted interpretation, Verstein, the methodology
Hmm.
of Verstein.
Verstein, huh?
Hmm?
To be
And
in the
it
shoes
is
of
not
someone. Yeah.
completely, Verstein. Social
Hmm.
action become
Hmm.
a, you know, the fact
Hmm.
of example to understand how to
Hmm.
apply the interpretive method.
Hmm.
Okay. So now
Hmm.
this is philosophy. If you critically
Hmm.
engage, if you are studying sociology and
Hmm.
engage critically this,
Hmm.
trying to
Hmm.
understand this what exactly, and also you can create different example to
There is
understand various
very
things what is
thin line
around
between,
us.
every discipline and philosophy. I believe that very thin line.
No.
Once you cross that, like you become philosopher, and
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
And for example, political science.
Hmm.
Marx, Marx was a, Hegel
Hmm.
are political philosophers.
Hmm.
Marx, Hegel, Locke, they are
Hmm.
philosopher, also political philosopher.
Hmm.
But they go beyond
Hmm.
certain, they actually define the
Hmm.
certain purposes, aim, and methodology of particular discipline.
Hmm.
And they provided some innovative ideas to understand different reality, political realities, social realities.
Hmm.
So Max Weber applied interpretative method. So how
Hmm.
do you understand an action? By interpreting it. The
Hmm.
interpretation. And in differently, it is called hermeneutics.
Hmm.
Hermeneutics is a philosophical method.
Hmm.
Interpretation is also in method of interpretation or method of understanding
Hmm.
is applied in hermeneutics. It's come under
Hmm.
the methodology that is called hermeneutics.
Hermeneutics.
So therefore,
Hmm.
different, maybe it is science,
Hmm.
natural science like
Hmm.
physics, chemistry, biology. Maybe it is sociology, political science, economics.
Hmm.
So if a
Hmm.
student
Hmm.
studies systematically,
Hmm.
critically,
Hmm.
analytically,
Hmm.
then he is doing
Hmm.
and trying to understand the conceptual issue, theoretical issue,
Hmm.
and looking the relationship between theory and also what is happening in the society,
Hmm.
checking the fact, what is,
Hmm.
whether a theory is valid or invalid, you test
Hmm.
in the fact. So
Hmm.
therefore, there is a link. There is another school of philosophy that is called pragmatism.
Hmm.
Pragmatism is also a philosophical method, and also it is called pragmatic school of philosophy.
Hmm.
John Dewey, the
Hmm.
guru of Dr.
Baba Sahib.
Babasaheb Ambedkar.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
recently there was also a book,
Evolution of
called
pragmatism in India. Hmm.
Evolution of Pragmatism in India.
Hmm.
You see, that book is a very interdisciplinary discipline, but
Hmm.
it is a philosophical discipline. It is
Hmm.
relevant irrespective of the discipline, political science,
Yes.
sociology. I might have quoted in my philosophy thesis.
Hmm.
Hmm? So therefore, see my background.
Hmm.
I have not done philosophy in BA.
Hmm.
I am a history honors student, BA honors student.
Okay.
And after that, I was studying sociology
Hmm.
from Babasaheb Ambedkar Central University.
Hmm.
I was studying sociology. I have also net in sociology.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And after that, in third semester, when I was there, I
Hmm.
appeared for the entrance of PG
Hmm.
for JNU, and I
Hmm.
cleared
Hmm.
philosophy. I left
Hmm.
sociology. I left
Sociology.
all the history, and I
Hmm.
started studying philosophy. Freshly studying philosophy,
Hmm.
and now I am a professor of philosophy. So therefore, there is no limitation to doing philosophy.
Hmm.
In a way, the best philosophers in the world
Hmm. Hmm.
belongs to the different disciplines, coming
Hmm.
from science, coming from different discipline background. Engineer,
Hmm. Hmm.
Wittgenstein was a aeronautical engineer. So
Hmm.
therefore, philosophy and other disciplines has a very thin boundary. But everything in sociology, what is studied is not philosophy. But the way I
Hmm.
said, the methodological, theoretical
Hmm.
aspect,
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
are the methodological and theoretical aspect of that particular discipline is concerned is very much philosophical.
It's a
The way in
philosophy.
sociology, sociological knowledge,
Hmm.
methodology like methodological part,
Hmm.
whether philosophy is a science or not, in
Hmm.
political science, political theory,
Hmm.
these are
Hmm.
and philosophy is second order discipline. Another definition I would like to convey the
Hmm.
audience is that
Hmm.
philosophy is a second order discipline.
Hmm.
Philosophers sit and create new idea. They don't visit like the way empirical studies are happening.
That's what I was
Like in
about to ask now.
sociology,
Philosophical
data.
method is exactly.
See, there are various philosophers, philosophical methods.
Hmm.
So obviously, empirical method is one. Empirical
Hmm.
method is one.
Hmm.
Or scientific method, which we call scientific method, is
Hmm.
also philosophical method. Philosophy is not unsystematic. Philosophy always go systematic.
Systematically. Huh?
Systematic. They analyze fact, they analyze concept, they analyze theory, and then
Hmm.
infer. They
Hmm.
come to the conclusion. So
Hmm.
that is there. That is studied in, or
Hmm.
we teach in logic. Logic
Hmm.
also for BA
Hmm.
BA student, UG student, logic is very very important to
Okay.
learn methodology. And there
Hmm.
are very known
Hmm.
methodologies are there. Like all the methodologies which is followed in social sciences are also philosophical methods.
Hmm.
Okay, for example, dialectics method,
Hmm.
Marx applied.
Hmm.
Hmm? Conflict as a
Hmm.
parameter. Dialectic
Hmm.
method, Hegel applied.
Hmm.
They are also philosophical method.
Hmm.
Okay. So scientific method, it is called inductive method, or empirical method is also
Hmm.
philosophical method. And
Hmm.
another like analytical method.
Hmm.
Analytical method. Critical as a methodology. Critical.
Hmm. Hmm.
Critical method.
Hmm.
Analytical method. Phenomenology.
Hmm.
Phenomenology is a philosophical method.
Hmm.
In philosophy, continental philosophy is very, very relevant.
Hmm.
Continental philosophy.
Hmm.
Hmm? So, that is a contemporary philosophy also. So, phenomenology is a philosophical method. Hermeneutics is a philosophical method. Existentialism is also a method. Hmm? Then rationalism, deconstructive method, skepticism, doubt as a philosophical method. So
Hmm.
it is not the methods which is isolated from the methods which we studied in other discipline. That is also philosophical method. And therefore, another way to understand is that philosophy is itself is a methodology. You know,
Hmm.
philosophy, the way
Hmm.
we write a thesis or a project
Hmm.
in other discipline, in philosophy it is something different. So you
Hmm.
don't, philosophical thinking itself is a methodological issue. So if you, and therefore, the task of philosophy or task of a student is to know that what is philosophy of out of everything. Whatever you study, anything can be philosophy, a subject matter of philosophy. But we have to understand and find out what is philosophical about it. What is philosophical about it? So philosophical questions are very, very important. So philosophical questions, so like what makes wrong action wrong? What makes wrong action
Wrong action
wrong?
wrong.
Whether a law is fair or just. Whether a law is fair or just. What makes action right or wrong? Whether life has purpose. Whether our life has purpose. Whether life after death. Life after death. Buddha, Siddharth Gautam, and different Indian philosophy engage with this. Not only Indian philosophy, Western philosophy also. Whether Buddha, Siddharth Gautam also respond this question. Buddhist perspective is very different. Hmm? So it is in Buddha and his Dhamma, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has also discussed. Rivat. So there are various philosophical questions you will see in Buddha and his Dhamma. And Ambedkar has also discussed in philosophy of Hinduism in volume number 3rd. He has defined what is philosophy. Plato.
What is
He has
philosophy?
discussed
Start with
Plato.
defining
And
philosophy.
the example of this black cat and black cat philosophers versus the theologians. Philosophers versus theologians.
Theology.
So Ambedkar liked philosophers, not the theologians. Understood? Eh?
Yeah.
So the philosophy and theologian. There was a fight between philosophy and theologian once upon a time, and this example was originated or given
Origin. Yeah.
in response to each other. So that
There is
example
one
is also
question
has
from
been
student.
identified in that book. Hmm?
Yeah, yes. There is one question from viewer. So Piyush is
Okay.
saying basically, ki, like, can you suggest some books for beginners to understand philosophy?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Hmm. Like already I have told you one book,
Hmm.
what philosophy is. Okay.
Hmm.
And there is a story type of books.
Hmm.
Story of philosophy. Will Durant.
Curious.
Will Durant.
Hmm.
Story of philosophy.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a very in a very simple language. It has been written, and it is good for the beginners. And
Beginners.
then another writer, children philosophy, Sundar Sarukai, Indian
Hmm.
philosopher.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
recently he has a different project. He is writing a book like Story of Philosophy, a big book. It is very famous book, though already I famous. And he is writing like another way of, simple way to understand what philosophy is. So therefore, maybe it came or it will be coming soon. That book, what philosophy is something. But children philosophy is written by Sundar Sarukai. That book is also very, very important. It's a small book,
Hmm. Hmm.
children philosophy.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and this is another book. And already I suggested you philosophical method, that book.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oxford book, Oxford
Oxford one.
introduction. If you Oxford
What philosophy?
introduction, there is a
Hmm.
what is philosophy? Eh?
Hmm.
And another book also I will suggest to
Hmm.
read from this introduction to Oxford, from this series of publication book only. That is
Hmm.
called What Philosophy Is.
Hmm.
What is philosophy?
Hmm.
That is also a small book,
That is
introduction
also.
book, very simple, very, very important.
Can you
Okay.
also
So
suggest
these
some
are the,
contemporary thinkers of from philosophy जो आज के समय में है, खास करके इंडियंस के लिए अभी हम लोग जानना चाहते हैं कि like are there any people who are very doing very good, जैसे सुंदर सरुकाई, his work on lived
yes,
experience is very important.
yes. I have published also, I think some of the writings I have worked on them. Some of the writing will come soon. Maybe if I will come, if it publishes, I will share you. Yeah, there are philosopher, Akash Singh Rathore, you can read. Akash Singh Rathore, hmm?
Okay,
Akash
yeah.
Singh Rathore, and then Sundar Sarukai, and then There are a lot of
Gopal Guru.
philosophers. Gopal Guru is from political theory. He is from political science, but he is not. But his
Philosophy.
writings are philosophical. Okay.
Yeah.
So in fact, Gopal Guru and
Sundar
Sundar Sarukai
Hmm.
are very. They have collaboratively. They have worked on
Hmm.
lived experiences,
Humiliation
theory,
and yeah,
ethics,
yeah.
hmm,
Hmm.
humiliation. Then cracked mirror.
Hmm.
Then social. Another book was also from Oxford has come.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Gopal Guru also can be
Hmm.
read.
Hmm.
And who are the author? J.N. Sinha for ethics. J.N. Sinha.
What is the name?
Daya
DN.
Krishna. J.N. Sinha.
Okay, GN Sinha.
J.N. Sinha. J.N. Sinha.
Okay, okay. Huh.
On ethics he has written. Then
Hmm.
the contemporary writers are
Hmm.
sometimes very important to read. The
Hmm.
contemporary philosophers,
Hmm.
like their writings, is very
Hmm.
important. There are a lot of people working. I will suggest you personally. Sometimes
Hmm.
you might
Hmm.
convey later on
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
to the students in other podcasts. Maybe some of the
Hmm.
writings I will
Hmm.
very
We'll
easy
discuss.
way to understand philosophy,
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
irrespective of the interdisciplinary student. I will suggest you.
Hmm.
Um, so the contemporary philosopher they will read. Daya Krishna, Nature of Philosophy. He has written certain very very good book. Nature of
Hmm.
Philosophy. Daya Krishna.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Hmm.
He is contemporary philosopher. Daya
Okay.
Krishna, Nature of Philosophy. Hmm?
Yes.
Then
Hmm.
mm, another book I am forgetting. S.N.
Hmm.
Dasgupta's
Hmm.
wife, S.N. Dasgupta, I think, Sen
Hmm.
Gupta or something. She
Hmm.
has written a book on Indian philosophy,
Hmm.
uh, history of uh, Indian ethics,
Hmm.
thought on Indian ethics or history of Indian ethics. That book is
Hmm.
also recommended. But
Hmm.
for the beginner, story of philosophy,
Hmm.
and then also another book can be studied. Bertrand Russell,
Hmm.
Bertrand Russell,
Hmm.
Bertrand Russell, History of Western Philosophy. That book also can be
Hmm.
studied. Very very important that book.
Hmm. Yes. I think now we are about to come up to the end और हम लोग थोड़ा सा will now जैसे हमने कहा अभी तो like it's too much for beginner खास करके लोग बोल रहे हैं क्या कर दिया दिमाग का so it's very also enriching feeling for me as well because after long time I am also because I'm continuously teaching very basic thing maths and this kind of subject after long time I was also discussing about this philosophy question of existence and all this stuff question of even what is science and what is not and all this stuff so but there are some students who would like to know like what are the different institutions in India who are good if you want to suggest somebody that okay like this institution is good this department is good or under this professor you can study philosophy which is very good so you can you suggest name of departments institutions universities or maybe some people under whom you can do philosophy.
Yeah, there are a lot of departments or university where, and there are a lot of scope to
Hmm.
study philosophy or
Hmm.
also set your career in
Hmm.
philosophy.
Hmm.
So, for example, in Orissa is a very underdeveloped, you know, or now it's very much growing, but there are departments in
Hmm.
Orissa level
Hmm.
at UG from plus two, 11, 12, from school
Hmm.
we can say.
Hmm.
There is logic is taught separate optional paper. Then in UG philosophy honors is there at
Hmm.
different university. There are 10, 20 universities are available where philosophy is taught. Revensa, Utkal, our Rajendra University, Gangadhar Meher University,
Hmm.
and then uh, Fakirman University, Ramadevi University. Eh?
Hmm.
There are a lot of university where philosophy can be studied here in Orissa, and there are
Hmm.
a lot of state university and central university
Hmm. Hmm.
across the country. There are good. You can study or you can pursue philosophy, and the known some of the departments where you can pursue is in India first. That is like JNU, you can study definitely. There is a good atmosphere to research. There is no undergraduate program there, but from MA you can study. And philosophy is a open order discipline. It is a open discipline that if you have studied even science or if you have studied sociology BA, then you can come and study philosophy. There is no
Philosophy.
restriction. Like there are English literature. So if you have studied BA in English, then only you can study uh, uh, MA, apply for MA. So there is no restriction like that. Philosophy is an open discipline; anybody can apply, particularly to enter into master. So you can or even BA program you can enter. So it is there in Maharashtra, like Savitribai Phule University, Mumbai University, IITs. Nowadays in IITs as also philosophy is very famous. So famous philosophy department is there. Good professors are good professional academicians or philosophers or professors are available. You can apply for like there are different entrance systems are there. Now get for science stream there are different or IIT or technical stream there are different entrance tests are available. So through that you can enter into the IIT technical institution also where there is a humanities and social science sections is there. Within that philosophy is also available. You can study irrespective of the like IIT Mumbai, IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur. Everywhere philosophy department is available. IIT KIS like Odisha. So everywhere philosophy is there. And also like JNU, Delhi University. In Delhi University, maximum colleges have the philosophy departments. So there you can apply. Okay.
Okay.
And then also the BHU is there. And like there are many several state universities available. In South also available. In Guwahati University is also available. Guwahati, IIT Guwahati is also available. So everywhere philosophy is there. Philosophy is there, and philosophy is a very, very powerful subject. In my experience, I am telling. Therefore, one who develop the hold in this particular discipline, then it will become very easy to understand various issues in social sciences. And therefore, to say, and nowadays even the professional, even like this competitive world, the capitalist or in this in professionalism also, now they want something new, something new.
New.
Otherwise, they will not accept. And this and therefore, philosophy is also higher nowadays. Philosophers are also higher to see things differently, create something new, so that our industry will develop, our company will develop. So nowadays, not only only teaching profession is available, but also there are in business line also in professional or line
What
also
kind of professions
philosophy
are
is
these?
demanding.
Can you give some examples like what kind of professions are there? If you're a philosopher, definitely teaching is one, research is another, writing books.
No, there are now see ethics is very very important.
Hmm.
Now every institution needs ethics.
Hmm.
No, innovative ideas is very very important. Therefore, ethical domain, ethical understanding, because to maintain certain ethical aspect or practices, irrespective of the business, different
Hmm.
universities also not different industry also has to maintain certain ethical practices, and that can be contributed by better contributed by the philosophy scholar,
Hmm.
and therefore
Hmm.
they also hire. So
Hmm.
that is why in nowadays the business world is also seeking the philosophy scholars, philosophy trainers, those who are good in ethics, those who are good in creative thinking, and therefore philosophers are also nowadays demanding. And therefore in both the not only teaching but also other field also philosophy, if you have done the various NGO or various um, independent research institutions also you can join and also contribute in research also, so that is also possible. uh, Therefore, for professional perspective, for job perspective, philosophy is also very
mm,
important nowadays. So it is not that, and even irrespective of the, even in the teaching line, there are not enough faculties. There are seats goes vacant, and
mm,
therefore
mm,
uh, pursuing philosophy is also very important. There are no that much competition is done
mm,
in philosophy
mm,
than the other
mm,
disciplines are there. So
mm,
therefore, and in general also, to improve the society, it is necessary
mm.
philosophy.
It is necessary.
Otherwise, in India, India is very much conservative, and philosophy is undermined. And therefore, if philosophy will be given emphasize or
Mm.
some priority, then I think our society will also benefit.
Yeah. Yes. It was really nice of talking to you. और
Not
I
like that.
learned so many things. I hope हमारे स्टूडेंट भी बहुत सारी नई चीजें समझे होंगे. Um, I believe. Do you have few words to say for our
And
students?
also, at the end, I would also suggest there are lots of scope if you want to go to, you know, abroad
Hmm.
for PhD, MA, and other, you know, academic
Hmm.
programs. So in foreign also, and that is possible if you create your personality
Hmm.
something extraordinary.
Hmm.
Hmm? In writing, in publishing, hmm? Good publication. If you can develop good publication, then you can go to outside for research, postdoc,
Hmm. Hmm.
master, PhD. So
Hmm.
lot of universities
Hmm.
in the in abroad, and they are, you know, searching for scholars like or works, or scholars like working in some different areas, and they are
Hmm.
something, it is new, they are doing something new. So therefore there are a lot of, you know, prospect that you can go to abroad also. If you study philosophy, you can
Hmm.
go abroad, you can set your career in teaching, you can
Hmm.
set or run independent, you know, research institutions also possible. You can join different organizations, business and non-government organizations, where they are seeking scholars, editors. So there also you can join. So
Yeah.
it is very, there are a lot of things, it is very difficult within an hour or
Yeah. Yeah.
1.5 an hour to discuss philosophy. So but it is very good experience for me as well, and quite difficult.
Hmm.
So sometimes talking things in a very simple way is very difficult.
It's difficult.
Very
True.
difficult.
True. True. Hmm.
Philosophy is always abstract.
Hmm.
Philosophy is always abstract. If you know, take some books, some
Hmm.
philosophers' book like
Hmm.
Heidegger,
Hmm.
Hegel, those
Hmm.
books are very abstract. It is very difficult to understand, you know,
What they're
philosophy.
saying. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but there are philosophers, they write very simple, like Bertrand
Hmm.
Russell.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Hmm.
Bertrand Russell. Those
Hmm.
books are very, you know, his writing is very simple. So there are philosophers, they write very simple, and therefore uh, we should not think that philosophy is difficult. Philosophy is
Hmm.
very creative, very innovative, very simple, and it will improve your, you know, life as well, and also you can contribute better to the society. And therefore I am not taking much, but
Hmm.
let us not think that philosophy is a discipline very isolated, very difficult, but it is very difficult, and very easy, creative, innovative. And therefore I suggest that to study uh,
Philosophy.
or pursue in philosophy. And whenever I can contribute, I'm always available. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you very much again for giving me this opportunity to
Yeah.
share my thought
Thank you
on
to
what
you taking
philosophy
much
is.
this much
So
time. It's 1 hour
thank you
almost. We
very
have
much,
this.
Pratham.
Yeah. For me, it
Yeah,
was also enlightening session. For all of you, Aditya is there. Aditya is saying it was really enlightening. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you and have a nice time. And hopefully
yeah,
we'll have another session in depth maybe.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Give me some
Yeah.
particular specific topic
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
within like method or something,
Hmm.
something
Hmm. Hmm.
specific issue
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
I can, you know,
We
contribute.
can talk about
So
logic
it is very
possibly.
general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we can talk
Yeah,
about logic,
yeah, yeah.
methodology. That's very interesting topics.
Yes, that
Absolutely.
also we can do.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Good night. Good night.